So as per usual, I always start my day with grounding and not like consciously grounding, but just like again allowing myself to just like be and ease into the day and like again let the thoughts that need to come through. And especially as I've started doing this, that has yet to fail, and it's so beautiful, and it's honestly exactly how I have wanted this to go. Just to let what comes through, and then that kind of spark of inspiration drive me to record something. So, um, you know, if you've watched any of my last videos, you kind of understand a bit of the situation that I've been in as far as like money, and then like this whole like, do I get a job? Don't I get a job? Whatever. And, like yesterday, the last couple of days, I've really been like reflecting on it even more, in the sense that like I know that I do not and am not supposed to go get like some kind of office job, in a field that I could do really well with. But because it's just, it's not for me, period. It's not for me. And I know that's not my path. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. But, I have been thinking more about like just getting something in the meantime to help me get by. And, I was looking at a couple of different like cafes and little places like that where the mental load would be minimal, and I would still have this sense of freedom to some extent, and I kind of was thinking like yesterday, I was like, okay, look, if nothing comes through, if like nothing signifies like or gives me like a hard like no, don't do it, then I'm going to go out and start applying to some of the places that I was looking at. But anyway, so with that, I was sitting here thinking, like, I was noticing these kinds of like judging thoughts, which I know aren't always mine. But it was, yeah, it was kind of based around like, you know, what are people gonna think if I, said all I said about like not wanting to get like a normal regular job, and then I do end up going and getting a job of some kind. Um, and I kind of wrote it out, so I might end up like reading a lot of what I wrote, because what came through was really like perfect in my mind. But yeah, I had these kinds of thoughts, like that people are going to be like, oh my god, she's crazy, she's an idiot, she's lazy, she's irresponsible, etc., fill in the blank. And then eventually I kind of realized, I was like, well, those are still thoughts that are still kind of lingering in my mind, as far as like judgments towards myself, that like not only being afraid that others might be thinking that, but honestly I can't control that. And I'll get into it. I'm kind of about to get ahead of myself. So I had those thoughts, and like I said, I realized that those are still kind of judgments and thoughts that are floating around in my head. And the other fear was like, well, what will it look like if I say all those things and then I kind of double back and then go get a job, and will it make me look like a hypocrite, or will it actually like discredit a lot of what I've already kind of said and shared, So I was having those thoughts, and then it led me to a thought of, or it led me back to earlier, like in these last few months, and like the purge that I was going through. And it's not something that I'd mentioned yet in any of the previous videos, but like the severe fatigue that I was feeling was utterly insane. Like, I've never felt that way in my entire life. Like even when I'm sick, it's like a day or two of like feeling like low energy, and then I'm back at it, once it kind of cleared through. But this was literally continuous fatigue, to the point where, and I've never had it this bad, but to the point where I could barely hold a conversation with somebody for more than a few minutes before I felt like I had to like go lay down and rest. It was wild. Like, I've never had mono, but like I feel like it might have been something similar to that, or it that's kind of what was happening. I had no energy. I could barely, all I had the energy to do was just to lay down and rest, maybe watch some TV, maybe get up and, eat something that was really quick and easy and simple to do. And like, I barely had the energy to shower, you guys. It was crazy. Like, And it was like, even when I was like, okay, I'm ready to get up, I'm ready to go do something, you know, again, like I would stand up and start walking and lift something up, and then within a matter of like seconds and minutes, I was exhausted, and like my body started hurting, so I had to go lay down. So it was really like really frustrating, you know. But what was great about that thought coming through is it reaffirmed what I knew I felt then, that I'd kind of forgotten about, that like, even if I am supposed to go get like a, you know, like a simple job at like a cafe or coffee shop or something, that literally would not have been possible for me to do in that time, you know, because the fatigued days far outweighed and outnumbered the energized days. Like, it was basically all fatigue, and with maybe one day where I felt like my normal self again, and then it was back at it. So, you know, it reaffirmed that, like, it's just reaffirming that I am exactly where I'm meant to be right now, and that everything that has happened, it's happened how it was supposed to. Because I would not have been able to, like I said, let alone apply for a job, but like keep one, you know? And it was, if you've been through it, you understand, but it was brutal, and I have not experienced anything like that. So it was really like disorienting, not knowing what to do. But yeah, so then it kind of led me into this whole train of thought of like, let me catch up real quick. Okay. Yep, said all that. Again, sorry. But yeah, so, you know, I had that confirmation, reaffirmation about that. And, you know, I basically was just like, look, if anybody does have anything to say or judge me for, or make me think or feel like I'm, you know, being all those things that I said before, you know, I was just like, fuck it. Like, they don't know me. They don't know my situation. They don't know what I'm going through, what I have been through. They don't know all the inner work that I have been doing, not just this year, but my whole life, you know, like, they don't know. Because honestly, most people aren't doing this kind of work, you know, which would ultimately lead to having this kind of deep, fatigued purge, okay? But beyond that, what then it led me to, and I might just start reading this from the notebook, because it was just so, I wrote, it was so well put, but, you know, this world and this society, the US especially, makes you think that every day has to be a good day. And that if it isn't, and you allow yourself time to rest and recover, then you are lazy, or you should be punished. And that's why so many people out there are desperately needing some time off, but the culture doesn't support it, and it doesn't condone it. And if anything, it punishes you and incites fear that if you do this and take that time for you, which you need, you'll lose your job, or at least you won't be able to provide for yourself and your family. If, you know, that's what you have to do. But, you know, and I really feel for the singles out there, you know, that who are either on their own, like I have been and still am in essence, or, you know, for the singles out there who have kids and family, you know, other responsibilities that are like relying on them. Because like, when you were in desperate need of like time for yourself and just time to recover, not just from a sickness, but like mentally, like rejuvenate yourself, we are told that like, it's not only like not possible, but if you do decide to do that for you, to give yourself that self-love and self-care, it's going to have negative and possibly detrimental consequences. But, you know, said the US is one of the worst about this. And considering that we are a free country and one of the world leaders, free being kind of the key word here, so many of us just feel trapped in the matrix, trapped in the cog that never stops and continues to spin. And if you jump out for 1 second, just for a breath, that cog keeps going, leaving you to either try to catch up, or find another cog to latch onto. And then the cycle just repeats. It just continues to perpetuate itself, of this feeling that you If you step off the cog, you're throwing your life into chaos and turmoil, and even if that's not actually like totally true on like the physical 3D level, that's the mental space that so many of us have been and are still living in, um, and it's just it's sad, and it's frustrating. um, but yeah, so you know this cycle continues, like the cog continues to spin in this at this unsustainable pace that only a machine could keep up with. And even then, machines break down. Machines need breaks from the cycle for maintenance in order for them to continue going. So why wouldn't or shouldn't it be the same for a living, breathing human being who has so much more to maintain and give maintenance to? um, this culture and this country, like, they punish you for having a rough time and for needing a break. Um, you know, the bills never stop coming in, and in many cases, they deny you any kind of a grace period for a break, or if you're having like a downtime. Because I've tried, with certain credit cards and stuff, I've called them. There was nothing they could do. They're like, the best we could do is change your due date, which, when nothing is coming in, uh, thanks, I guess, but like you're just delaying the stress, but the stress is still there because like I don't know how it's going to get paid off. They punish you for it, and then let's throw on all the interest rates, the obscene, ridiculous, like, interest rates. There was another word I wanted to say because it's not even that. It's heinous. You know what I'm saying? Like this capitalistic mindset where they don't give a shit. They just want their money. They don't care about the person behind there. And don't get me wrong, I know that every case is a little different, but there's a lot of really, really, like, honest, good people who are just trying to do the right thing, for themselves, for their families. And when they hit a hard time, they are left out in the cold. And not only that, the bills just get bigger and higher and more. So yeah, it's either you have to push through with every ounce of your being, or you fall behind, which only adds more stress and anxiety. And then people start wondering, like, why is there so many angry people and so many attacks happening and all these bitter, pissed off people? And it's like, it's because no one feels safe. No one feels supported. Okay? It truly feels like every man for themselves. And what happens when people feel that way? It's a fight to the death, gladiator style, like, and again, I felt called to share this because I know this is going to resonate with so many different people. So many of us have been or are in this situation where the idea of giving yourself any kind of time, love, self-care, a break, is like unfathomable. Not only because so many companies don't even like allow for that or like offer like anything for that. It's because we've been brought up in this society, this whole industrial complex society, the assembly line, that like everything just keeps going, everything just keeps moving. You either jump in, you fill in, or you fall out, and then you're screwed, and again, I know it's not all that, but that's how people are feeling. And honestly, how people are feeling is what is more significant than the actual reality of the situation. And here's the thing. People wouldn't be feeling this way if that wasn't a reality in many cases. I know there's companies that have gotten better about offering, more mental health days, or, even maybe a little bit longer maternity leaves, and maybe even paternity leave, but for the most part, they expect you to just continue to do, to perform, to produce, and that is not only not sustainable, it's not necessary, like this 24-hour, like, news cycle process or like, production process. It's like everybody is like racing against time and each other, but in reality, like, it's not a fucking race, guys. It's not. Like, if you actually took the time to allow people and gave them the opportunity to actually take quality time for themselves, watch how they come back and literally produce and perform at a level that you didn't even know was possible for in general, but for these individuals, it makes me think back to a sociology class I took back in college, and that was so eye-opening for me. And it was about leisure, like leisure time, and kind of the role it plays on the human condition, and just in general, around like everything around life. And Europe has so many countries in Europe have incredible, like, not only just vacation packages and times, but like maternity and paternity leave. And for like a year and a half to 2 years, at the most important, like, crucial time of your newborn's life, where the parents can actually bond with the child and give the child the love and the attention that it actually needs to grow up into a healthy, balanced, like, not even just responsible, but just a healthy, balanced adult. But in the U.S., no, we are cogs in the machine of this capitalistic industrial complex, and it has been that way for so long. So of course it's kind of difficult to even imagine something without it. But I know we are moving in that direction slowly but surely. But in many cases, it's still just the same old assembly line concept. But yeah, like Europe. Like, it's wild. Europe literally, like, they don't force people to take vacations, but there's literally, like, there are like designated periods of vacation time. And sometimes it's as long as a month, you guys, okay? Like, in one setting, and that's not the only time they get off. They get other holidays. Like, when I was in Paris, I swear to God, every other day was a freaking holiday. And like, I'm like, wow, that must be nice. But it was kind of frustrating for us because we needed to keep working, because that's just what we were doing. But I was like, wow, that is kind of amazing that there's so many people who are just able to actually enjoy life because their country is allowing that for them, or their company is allowing that for them. So I'm trying to remember where I was going before I got all in that, but oh yeah, so vacation times, like, it is in that class we were taking, showing videos of interviews of, like, these various Europeans, like, taking their time, and how their employers encouraged it because they understood the value of giving people time, not just for themselves, not just to recover from an illness or, to have a baby or whatever, but to actually, like, enjoy life. And then on top of that, they're making livable wages, period. People aren't having to work necessarily, like, 4 jobs to make ends meet, which, again, I still never even understood that. I mean, I guess the only way I could understand that is, like, one place only had this many hours to give you, and, like, you needed to fill the rest. But, like, when you're only making, 10, 12, maybe 15 an hour on average in these kinds of jobs, like, in this country right now, especially, that is not a livable wage. And not only that, you are literally taking time, precious, valuable time, away from each individual and these children from getting to, like, enjoy life with their families, or just enjoy life in general, or enjoy themselves, learn about themselves. That is one of the beautiful blessings and gifts that I've always really, like, acknowledged when I've had these periods of, like, no working. And I've wondered, I was like, well, how the hell is anybody else going to be able to get to this place of, like, understanding and understanding all this, like, doing the healing work, if they are constantly stuck in this cog because they have to be, yeah, I mean, I don't really have, like, a call to action, so to speak, for this message, like a direct one, but I just want to, like, I felt like I needed to share this, and again, continue to kind of put this message out there, because It is why so many people are so angry, so pissed off. I saw it so much in LA, especially like when, the roads are shit and like the highways are jam packed so much of the day, especially in those rush hour mornings, to where like going 3 to 4 miles could take you 30 to 45 minutes easy, if not longer, and I remember just like when I got there, seeing how many people were just speeding by, racing past you, cutting you off, like the amounts of honks and just anger that was there. And I was just like, what the hell? I mean, I know the traffic sucks, but like, what the hell? But then as I lived there longer and had to like experience it, I realized like it's because people are, aside from the traffic, that means that they're, getting up at like, let's say 6 a.m., 6:30. Maybe if they have the energy or the desire, they do a little, like they eat some breakfast, they do a little exercise, whatever. But a lot of times they're waking up, they're doing the basics of what they need to do, and they're getting in the car in order to get to their job on time. Okay. And so let's say anywhere from, I'd say for a lot of people, it was probably more like 45 minutes to an hour and a half in the car every morning. Easy, if not longer. Okay. Then they go into their job and they're there for 8, 10, 12 hours, depending on what kind of job they're doing. And then depending on what time they leave, well, really the rush hour is extended there, I feel like, but they're spending another 30, 45 hour and a half in the car getting home. And when you add all that up, and like, let's say maybe you need to go grocery shopping, or maybe you need to pick up dinner, or maybe you need to cook dinner, like by the time you get home and like are able to actually like focus on you have just barely enough time to just like unwind, maybe pop on a show or a movie or whatever. And then you have to go back to bed and do it all over again. Like, seriously? It's no wonder people are so angry and pissed off and bitter. It's no wonder people are speeding by like with no consideration for you, because they are so focused on just trying to make it through the day and survive. Now, there's still people who are just being kind of selfish assholes, but it all stems from somewhere, and it all stems from this feeling that nobody actually cares, and that if they don't fight, if they don't push, if they don't force to try and like get what they need to live, survive, and possibly even thrive, then it's not going to happen. And then they're just going to be even more miserable, which just leads to more anger and resentment and bitterness. And, guys, like, the cycle cannot continue, okay? Like, we cannot keep going in this direction. And I know there is only so much each one of us can do, but I think it always has to start with the awareness as to what is not working and why it's not working. And only then can you actually like say something or do something about it. Whether that is you say something to your boss, or maybe you get like a group of you who are all feeling the same way. You say something to them, or you just leave, find another job, or best of all, you start your own business. You start your own thing. And I've seen more and more people moving in that direction. And that's honestly the direction that I know I've been heading in. But, I just, again, I don't think it can be said enough right now as to like the unsustainable pace that we are living in this country and in this world in general, and why it's important for each one of us to really reflect on like what's going on in our life and in our world, and what can we do to like shift it and change it and to like make it better for ourselves and ultimately our families and our futures, and for the future of our country and our world. So yeah, I think that's the message for now. And again, the more of us that are actually like speaking out about this stuff and like putting these ideas out into the world and into the consciousness, the more things are going to start shifting, It's wild, because part of me is like, should I mention the whole like United Health thing that happened, and like, I do not condone any kind of like murder, attack, causing like physical harm to another person, even if even if like this person has, or maybe not this person, but this company that they are supposed to be responsible for is causing a lot of harm, stress, unnecessary anxiety, and honestly, even death. You know, I still don't condone that path and that action. But truly, people do not do that stuff if they feel like there is some other option. Period. Period. Okay? I don't care how many people say, oh, people are just evil or this or that or whatever. It's because they were like made to feel that that was their only option. Because again, they don't feel supported. They don't feel safe. They don't feel like their voice actually fucking matters. Okay? That is why this shit is happening. Okay? And it fucking sucks that this is the state of the world that we're in. But let me lift this up a little bit more. What I also know, and this is the silver lining, and this is the positive upside, is that because we have gotten, not just us in this, like, who are physically alive right now, but for years, we have been building up to this point. And it's also aligned with what's happening in this shift to the higher, 5D consciousness. But it is, things like this sometimes have to happen in order for there actually to be, like, to wake some people up. The ones who actually have the power and the ability to make changes that we on our own physically cannot like go in and change and alter ourselves, Again, I will say this again, and I will say this until the day I die. I do not condone any kind of murder, attacking, causing physical harm to anybody, in any case, for any reason, period. I don't care how much pain they have hurt and caused somebody else. That is never the option. I am always a believer and have been of like rehabilitation. And in order to do that, it requires an understanding and a desire to actually like understand where this person's coming from and what led them to come to this place, And only from that place and space can you actually decide and pass a judgment, a true judgment on somebody. But right now everybody's so quick. We're all caught up in this like instant gratification, like just do it, act, da, da, da. And that is actually hurting us. And that is why we're all so unhappy and dissatisfied with how things are going, is because nobody either wants to or has the time to take this approach. And that's what needs to shift. And that's what we're shifting towards. That's Oliver. He hasn't done this yet, which is actually surprising because he is usually like, if I'm talking or doing anything, he's like all up in my face. So maybe I'll take that as like a sign to just like end this message. But again, I'm just dropping seeds right now, guys. I'm just sharing all that I have felt and observed throughout my life and just as I've traveled around this country and the world. And it all starts with us. That's the best place you can start with anything like this. It's within yourself. Look within yourself. Do the work, do the healing. Allow yourself to heal and release and to understand so you can actually like come from a place of like just inner trust, inner peace, knowing that something can be done and knowing what you could possibly do to help make a change for yourself and for the world. Because every single thing that a person does affects the collective. So that's why, one person can change the world, but it always starts from here, from within. And, it's not easy. It's not always comfortable, and it's not always fun or pretty, but it is 1000% necessary if you really desire peace within your life and calm and like happiness and joy, like consistently. So yeah, I'm gonna end it with that. I was thinking about it yesterday. I think this might be like my new little like catchphrase slogan. Keep holding on, Keep staying strong and you'll get to the other side. You will get to the other side. Maybe I'll go into that as to why that's been like, that has been a repeating, ongoing message in my mind that stemmed from a song that popped into my mind that I haven't heard in years. So yeah, maybe I'll save that for another video, but I'll say it again. Keep holding on. Keep staying strong. And you will get to the other side.